Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's podcast is Growth Mindset for English Learners. So, we're launching into a deep dive on a topic that I think really outweighs any single grammar rule or, any vocabulary list you could possibly study.
Absolutely.
We have to acknowledge that learning English isn't just about collecting words and rules. It's a deeply human journey.
It really is. It involves your confidence, your persistence, even your identity, and, wrestling with some pretty fundamental fears.
Right, and that's the internal battle so many people face, isn't it? We see learners who start with all this energy, so much enthusiasm.
And then they just hit that wall. It's almost inevitable. They get discouraged because progress feels slow, or they're terrified of making a mistake.
Or the big one, comparing themselves to other people.
That's the killer, and it leads them to believe these really damaging myths like, oh, I'm just not good at languages, or I'm too old for this.
I don't have the talent.
Exactly. And those beliefs, they're like psychological blocks. They can stop progress much more effectively than a difficult verb tense ever could.
And that psychological barrier is exactly what we want to dismantle in this deep dive. We're focusing on a solution that is, it's conceptually simple, but it can be totally transformative.
We're talking about the growth mindset.
Right. We've synthesized our source material to give you a complete, practical, and I hope a really motivating guide to building this essential mindset for your own learning.
So by the end of this, you'll really get the difference between fixed and growth thinking. You'll know how to, catch and rewrite that negative self-talk.
And we'll get into practical strategies for dealing with the fear, the mistakes, all of it.
And building that long-term motivation that comes from habits, not just, waiting for inspiration to strike.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with the fundamental definition. We really need to nail down what a growth mindset actually is.
It's the architecture. It's the whole framework that determines how you respond when things get tough.
Without it, you're basically fighting your own brain every step of the way.
You really are.
So at its core, the growth mindset it's pretty straightforward, really. It's the belief that your abilities, including your language ability, aren't carved in stone.
They're not a finished product that you either have or you don't.
Exactly. They are works in progress, things you can develop through effort, through good strategies, and, getting help from other people.
And when a learner truly gets that, their whole relationship with English it shifts. It's a complete paradigm shift.
That's so.
Well, they stop seeing English as this high-stakes exam that's designed to measure how smart they are.
Ah, okay.
And they start seeing it for what it is, which is a complex skill that you build over time, like an athlete building muscle. It's about training, not proving.
I like that. Training, not proving. And there's a key phrase here, isn't there? A kind of mantra for this. It's, my English is not where I want it to be yet, but it can improve with time, practice, and the right methods.
Wow, one word, yet. It's so powerful. It's the key that unlocks everything. It signals that the current state is temporary.
And this all comes from a few core beliefs, right? Beliefs that really go against what a lot of us learned in school.
Oh, definitely. First, that the brain can change and grow. That's neuroplasticity. We know this is a fact.
But it's not fixed.
Not at all. And that skills are built, not just, discovered. You're not going to magically find a language skill inside you. You have to construct it.
And what about things like struggle and making mistakes?
Well, with a growth mindset, struggle is just a normal part of learning. It's expected.
So it's not a sign you're failing.
No, it's a sign you're learning. And effort isn't a sign of weakness. It's the training itself. Mistakes aren't proof of failure. They're proof you're trying.
It's so important to be clear about what this isn't, though. A growth mindset isn't some promise that you'll be fluent in 6 weeks.
Right. It's not magic.
Or that everything will suddenly be easy. It's the belief that even if it's difficult, even when it's frustrating,
improvement is still possible.
That's the real power of it. It validates all that slow, hard work.
Right. And to really get it, you have to look at its opposite, the fixed mindset.
Okay. So what's the deal with that?
This is the belief that talent or, your language ability is something you're born with. It's static. It can't really change much.
You either have it or you don't idea.
Exactly that. And it leads to these thoughts like, I'm just bad at English, or I'm too old to learn this.
Or, they learn faster because they're smarter than me.
That comparison trap again.
Yeah.
And the behavior that comes from this is, it's completely counterproductive. You start avoiding challenges because you don't want to look stupid.
Feel ashamed of mistakes.
Deeply ashamed. So you give up easily. You're always looking over your shoulder what other people are doing instead of focusing on your own path.
And for so many adults, this comes from old school experiences, right?
Absolutely. A bad teacher, a failed exam, being laughed at in class. These things create a powerful but totally untrue story in your head.
The story that says, I am not good at English.
And it feels true, even when it's not.
But there's real hope here, based on science.
Yes. This is the best part. Modern science shows us the brain can literally change itself. It can rewire itself at any age. It's called brain plasticity.
So every time you practice, every time you learn a word or try to speak,
You are physically forming new connections in your brain.
that's incredible.
It is. So the conclusion is simple. Language ability is not a talent. It's a trained skill. You're not bad at English. You're just not trained enough.
Yet. And that brings us back to that single most powerful word for any learner. Yet. It's like a tiny tool you can use anytime.
It's a little linguistic trick, but it completely changes the frame. It turns a dead end into a journey.
So instead of thinking, I can't speak fluently, which just feels final,
It's a full stop.
you change it to, I can't speak fluently yet. It opens the door again.
Or, my pronunciation is good yet.
It's such a small change, but it signals to your brain that the current situation is temporary. It's not a permanent state. It's changeable.
That one word keeps the possibility of improvement alive, no matter how hard it feels in the moment.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Why is this mindset so particularly crucial for language learning, maybe more than for, say, math or history?
Well, think about what you're doing. When you're learning a language, you're not just using your brain. You're using your identity,
Your voice, your personality, your opinions,
your sense of humor, all of it. And that's why it feels so scary. It's vulnerable.
which is why we feel all those emotions, right?
Yeah.
Shyness, embarrassment, that fear of sounding stupid or being judged.
Exactly. And a fixed mindset takes those feelings and says, see, this is proof you're failing. You feel bad, so you are bad.
But a growth mindset does what?
It normalizes them. It says feeling uncomfortable is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of growth. If it feels a bit scary, you're probably doing something right.
That's a huge reframe.
It's everything.
We also have to talk about this idea of the final level. So many learners think there's this finish line.
When I get to advanced, I'll be done.
But that's not how it works, is it? Even native speakers are always learning.
Of course. English is a lifelong skill, not a destination. You never really finish it.
So the focus has to shift. Stop asking, am I good or bad at this?
And start asking, how can I improve just a little bit today? That takes all the pressure off and replaces it with curiosity.
It's also about understanding the journey itself. Progress isn't a straight line upwards.
Not at all. It's messy. There are times you improve really fast, and then times you feel completely stuck.
And sometimes you even feel like you're going backwards.
Yes, and that is completely normal. A fixed mindset sees that dip and panics. A growth mindset sees it as part of the winding road.
There's also this big challenge for adults specifically, isn't there? We're so different from kids in how we learn.
Totally. Children just embrace making mistakes. It's how they learn everything. They don't have that ego, that shame attached to it.
Whereas adults, we want to be correct. We want to look smart. We want to avoid embarrassment at all costs.
And that desire to be perfect, paradoxically, slows us down. It makes us afraid to try.
So adults need to reclaim that healthy beginner attitude.
They do. They need to give themselves permission to say, it's okay to be bad at this while I'm learning it. In fact, it's necessary.
Let's make this really concrete. We'll run through a few real-life scenarios and see how each mindset would respond.
Okay, great idea. This is where the theory hits the road.
All right, scenario 1. You're in a conversation, maybe at work or in a class, and you make a grammar mistake while you're speaking.
Okay. The fixed response is immediate and internal. It's, I always make that mistake. People will think I'm stupid. I should just stay quiet now.
And the result of that is you stop practicing, which means you stop improving.
Right. Now, the growth response, it's completely different. It's good. Now I know what to fix.
The mistake becomes data.
Exactly. This mistake is helping my brain learn. If I keep speaking, I'll get better at this. The result is more practice and faster improvement.
Okay, scenario 2. You try to watch a movie or listen to a podcast for native speakers, and you just don't understand most of it.
The fixed response is, my English is too weak. Real English is impossible for me. And then you retreat back to easy beginner material.
Which means you never challenge yourself.
Never. The growth response is, my listening is training right now. I can use subtitles or slow it down or just find something a little easier for now.
The key thought being, every minute of listening helps my brain, even if I don't understand everything.
That's it. You trust the process.
Scenario 3. Comparing yourself to a friend or a colleague who seems to be much more fluent than you.
The fixed mindset says, they're just naturally talented. What's the point of me even trying? It's completely demotivating.
It's a dead end.
Yeah. But the growth response sees them as inspiration. Wow, they were also a beginner once. They probably just practiced a lot more than me.
If they can do it, then I can improve too. It shifts from comparison to possibility. Okay, let's do 2 more quickly. Forgetting words. That moment in a conversation when your mind just goes blank.
The growth response is, forgetting is part of learning. The more I try to use this word, the more it will stick. It normalizes the experience.
Instead of blaming your bad memory.
Right. And what about feeling stuck? Hitting one of those plateaus we mentioned.
Yeah, that's a big one.
The growth mindset says plateaus are normal. Maybe I need a new method or just more input. It doesn't mean I've hit my limit.
So the big difference when you boil it all down is the question you ask yourself.
Yes. A fixed mindset asks, what does this failure say about me?
And a growth mindset asks,
what can this moment teach me?
That's a profound difference. One is a judgment, the other is a strategy.
Precisely. Now, if we understand the mindsets, we also need to, identify the enemies, the things that pull us back into that fixed way of thinking.
Okay, let's name them. What's enemy number 1?
It has to be the fear of making mistakes. I call it the silent killer.
Because it leads learners to stay silent.
They use only the simplest sentences they know are correct. They avoid conversations, all because they believe they have to speak perfectly.
But that's the great paradox of language learning, isn't it?
It is. You don't learn to speak correctly and then start speaking. You have to start speaking, and through that messy process, you slowly learn to speak correctly.
So if you're not making mistakes,
it means you're not trying anything new. You're stuck in your comfort zone. And if you're in your comfort zone, you are not growing. Period.
So what does this all mean? It means we have to move on to enemy number 2, which is comparison.
The unfair race. It's so dangerous because it's based on an illusion.
What's the illusion?
You see someone's fluency, their advanced skill, but you don't see the years of study. You don't see the thousands of hours of practice.
Or the thousands of mistakes they made to get there.
Exactly. So you're comparing your beginning with their middle or their end. It's a fundamentally unjust comparison to make against yourself.
So the only valid comparison is,
am I a little bit better than I was 3 months ago? That's it. That's the only race you should be in.
Enemy number 3. This one feels a bit deeper. You call it old school trauma and the myth of talent.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge the pain here. So many people carry these memories of an angry teacher or being embarrassed in front of the class or just being told, you're bad at English.
And those memories create these deep false beliefs.
You do. But we have to reframe it. Those experiences were about bad teaching methods or a bad environment. They were not about your true ability.
And that connects to the talent myth.
It does. In reality, it's not some special language brain. It's things like starting earlier, practicing more, using better methods.
Time and practice.
Time and practice are the real engines, not magic talent.
Okay, what's the final enemy?
It's a sneaky one. Perfectionism. It sounds like a good thing, doesn't it? Like you have high standards.
But it's a trap.
A huge trap. The perfectionist thinks, if it's not perfect, I shouldn't say it.
And the result is silence.
Silence and stagnation. Because without that imperfect practice, there's no improvement.
Okay, so we've identified the enemies. Now let's talk about building the mindset. What are the actual strategies and habits?
Step 1 is the most direct. You have to change your inner language, your self-talk.
The brain is always listening.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
If you keep telling it, I'm bad at English, your brain says, okay, got it, I'm bad at this. And it stops looking for ways to improve.
So you have to create a new story.
A new story. You have to consciously replace those limiting phrases. Instead of I'm bad at English, try I'm learning English, or I'm improving step by step.
Or just I'm not good yet, but I'm getting better.
Yes. This isn't lying to yourself. This is training your brain to see possibility.
Okay, step 2.
You have to redefine mistakes. The old definition was mistakes are proof that I'm bad.
And the new definition?
The new definition is mistakes are information. They are feedback. They are learning in action.
So when a mistake happens, instead of feeling shame, you should ask,
what can this teach me? And what should I try differently next time? It turns a negative feeling into a positive action.
I love that. Okay, step 3.
Focus on the process over the result.
This is a big one. It's so easy to get obsessed with the big goal. Am I fluent yet?
Which is a terrible question. Because fluency is so far away and so vague, it just creates pressure.
So better questions would be,
Questions about your daily effort. Did I practice today? Did I try to speak today? Did I learn one small new thing today?
because fluency is just the result of thousands of those small, consistent days.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get into some really practical daily habits to build this mindset.
The first one is to keep an English learning journal.
And this isn't a diary for your feelings?
No, it's an evidence log. You write down what you studied, what was hard, and what's getting easier. Then, months from now, when you feel stuck, you can look back and see hard proof that you've actually improved.
That's powerful. What's next?
Talk to yourself in English. Yes. Describe your day. Describe what you see out the window. Practice little conversations in your head. It builds confidence without any of the pressure of talking to another person. It's a safe training ground.
That's a great tip.
Another one is to make mistakes on purpose.
That sounds scary.
It is a little, but it's about deliberately stepping outside your comfort zone. Try to use a new word you're not sure about. Try a longer sentence. Growth only happens outside the comfort zone.
You also mentioned using the right content level.
Yes, this is crucial. The content you use should be a little difficult, but not impossible.
Why that balance?
Because if it's too easy, you don't grow. And if it's too hard, you get frustrated and quit. You need that sweet spot of just challenging enough.
And the last habit, which might be the most powerful,
is to create a daily English identity.
what does that mean?
It means you stop saying, I sometimes study English, and you start saying, I am someone who uses English every day.
You're changing how you see yourself.
Yes. Identity creates behavior. When it becomes part of who you are, you don't need motivation anymore. You just do it because that's what you do.
Okay, that feels like a good place to talk about motivation itself and discipline.
Because we can't just rely on motivation, can we?
Not at all.
Motivation is a feeling. It's like the weather. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's rainy. It's totally unreliable.
So if you only study when you feel motivated, your progress is going to be, what, choppy, unstable?
Completely. A growth mindset understands that you need a system, not just a feeling. And that system is built on discipline.
Discipline sounds hard and boring.
It is kind of boring. It's quiet and normal.
Yeah.
But it's what builds the habits and the real skill. Discipline is showing up even when you're tired or you don't feel like it.
Doing a little bit even on the bad days.
Yes. The rule is to never break the chain, even if it's just for 10 minutes. That consistency is everything.
And routines help with that.
Hugely. Simple routines based on a time and a place are much better than big plans that depend on your mood.
Like every morning with my coffee, I'll do 15 minutes of English reading.
Exactly. When it becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth, progress becomes natural.
This also requires a shift in our timeline, doesn't it? We need to be thinking bigger picture.
We have to think in years, not in days. So many people quit because they think they should be fluent after 3 months. It's just not realistic.
But if you think about it, 30 minutes a day for 2 years.
That adds up to a huge, life-changing skill. The mindset has to be, I'm not in a hurry, I'm building a lifelong skill.
And what happens when we feel that burnout, that feeling of being tired and bored and even angry at English?
Burnout is a warning signal. It's not proof of failure. It's usually a sign that your method, your goals, or your routine isn't working for you right now.
So the growth approach isn't to quit.
No, it's to adjust. You rest, you change your method, you simplify, but you don't stop.
So we've talked a lot about the mindset. Let's talk about the people. What are the characteristics of successful learners? What do they do differently?
Well, the biggest one is that they fully accept their beginner status.
They're not trying to look smart.
Not at all. They're trying to learn. They understand that looking a little stupid now is part of looking smart later. So they aren't ashamed to ask simple questions or make simple mistakes.
They also focus on communication over perfection, right?
Yes. Their goal is, can people understand me? Not, is my sentence grammatically perfect?
They prioritize getting the message across.
And they spend their time on practice over just study. They're actively using the language, thinking, writing, speaking, not just reading about it in a book.
They sound like they're also kinder to themselves.
They are. They have this balance of self-kindness and responsibility.
Yeah.
They talk to themselves like a good teacher would, saying, this takes time, I'm learning.
But they also take responsibility.
Yes, by asking, how can I create more English in my life? Instead of just waiting for the perfect teacher or the perfect course to come along.
Here's where it gets really interesting, that identity shift you mentioned earlier. The most powerful change is how you see yourself.
It's a subtle change in language, but it's massive in its impact. You have to stop saying, I am trying to learn English.
And start saying,
I am an English learner. Or even, I am an English speaker.
and the power of that identity is what?
When English becomes part of who you are, you naturally find ways to use it. You don't need to force yourself with willpower. You just do what an English learner does.
So you start building an English environment around you.
Yes, you change your phone language.
Yeah.
You follow English content online. You read simple news in English because that's who you're becoming.
It's a shift from one day I will be good at English.
So today I'm training my English. You become fluent one day at a time, not in some distant future.
Let's apply this mindset now, really specifically, to the 4 main skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing.
Okay, good idea.
So for speaking, the rule is courage before comfort.
Exactly. Speak before you feel ready. Make your mistakes proudly. Your goal is just to be understood, even with simple words. Every single conversation is practice.
And for listening, so many people get overwhelmed here.
For listening, the rule is to trust your brain. You do not need to understand 100% to be learning.
So even when you feel lost, something is still happening.
Absolutely. Your brain is still learning the sounds, the rhythm, the patterns of the language. It's an invisible process, but you have to trust it. So just listen a lot and be patient.
What about reading? The temptation is to look up every single word.
And that's a fixed mindset trap. The growth mindset rule for reading is context over translation.
So try to guess the meaning from the other words.
Yes. Guess from context. Skip some unknown words. Just keep the flow of reading going. Understanding every single word is not necessary for progress.
And finally, writing. This can be so intimidating.
The mindset rule here is to write like a learner, not like a native speaker.
Meaning start simple.
Start simple. Focus on clear ideas in short sentences. The complexity will come later, naturally, over time. Don't try to be Shakespeare on day one.
This all sounds great, but what happens when you hit that wall, the plateau? This is where so many people quit.
It is. The plateau phase is probably the most dangerous point in the whole journey.
Why does it happen?
Well, it's a normal experience for every single learner. Progress feels like it just stops. It can be because your brain is busy organizing all the knowledge you've already learned.
So it's not that you're not improving, it's that the improvement is happening invisibly.
That's a great way to put it. You've moved from the fast, visible growth of a beginner to the slower, deeper growth of an intermediate learner. The progress becomes about quality, not just quantity.
But it feels like you're stuck.
It does. But there are
So what should they do? What are the action steps to break through a plateau?
First, change your method. If you've only been doing grammar drills, add more reading. If you've only been listening, find a speaking partner. Shake things up.
Increase the input, maybe?
Yes, more exposure. And add a bit more challenge. Try slightly harder content to wake your brain up.
I really like your idea of reviewing old material.
It's so motivating. When
Yeah.
you look at something that was hard 6 months ago and now it seems easy, that's concrete proof that you have improved.
And above all, just be patient.
Be patient. You break through a plateau by staying, not by quitting. Time is your partner here.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's just review that simple, realistic plan for long-term success.
Okay, it's all about a sustainable routine.
Right. We're talking 10 to 30 minutes of listening a day, maybe 5 to 15 minutes of reading, and 5 to 10 minutes of speaking or writing.
The key is consistency over intensity. Small, daily actions are much more powerful than one huge study session on a Sunday.
So remember the golden rules.
Never stop completely, even if it's just for 5 minutes.
Never wait for the perfect conditions to start.
And never, ever compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20.
Because at the end of the day, the real secret is just that quiet consistency.
It truly is.
And we want to leave you with a direct affirmation, a challenge to those old fixed beliefs. You are not too old. You are not too slow. You are not untalented.
You're in a process, a physical process. Every word you learn literally changes your brain. Every mistake teaches you something. Every minute you spend practicing makes you better.
A growth mindset doesn't promise an easy journey.
No.
It just promises that the journey is possible. And that's enough. So start today, continue tomorrow, and trust the process.
Your English is growing. And by taking on this challenge, so are you.
And for your final provocative thought, Since this path is so long and so much of the progress is invisible, how can you formally celebrate that invisible progress? Things like feeling less anxious or understanding things faster. How can you track that to stay motivated when the visible results slow down? What will your invisible progress journal look like? Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the growth mindset for English learners.
Your English is growing. So are you.
If this deep dive has given you a new perspective on your learning, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.